Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So the TV show just confirmed a big theory from the books that George R. R. Martin has been hinting about the direwolves for a long time in the larger role they have to play in the War for the Dawn. There are a couple small changes based on the things the TV show is doing that I'll try to explain as we go along. If you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. We're doing Game of Thrones all year long, even during the off season. So be sure to click that bell so you don't miss any of the videos. But as sad as that Nymeria scene was from episode 2, it confirmed a big book theory that George R. R. Martin has also hinted at that might come back into play later in the series. Not necessarily this season, but in season 8. There's always been a lot of confusion about what the show is doing with direwolves because we don't see Ghost hardly ever. I mean, where is Ghost right now? Jon's going to Dragonstone and he's leaving Ghost behind. He would never leave Ghost behind. So there's some TV show quirks that we have to explain at the end of this, but the theory that was confirmed was the Nymeria super PAC, the thing that we've been talking about for the last couple years. I think it was a couple years ago when season 4 was happening and George R. R. Martin was still doing more public engagements where he would answer questions. People were like, where's Nymeria? Arya keeps having these wolf dreams in the books. Where's Nymeria? She's got to be alive somewhere out there. And he confirmed, yes, she's still alive. And without necessarily confirming the role that Nymeria would play, just said that there would be some importance to her coming back later in the story. And this scene is not what he was talking about, just like having a moment with Arya. This is one of those moments that the TV show uses to help bump Arya in the right direction and also touch on something that happened way back in season 1 when she let Nymeria go. There's a couple different parts to the super PAC theory. This scene only confirmed part of it. The other part of the theory that hopefully the show does not fall asleep on is the fact that Nymeria's super PAC will be a great weapon of mass destruction for the forces of good in the War for the Dawn. So the really cool thing about this will get you excited for later. This is one of those things that the TV show has only hinted at. They might not do it, but fingers crossed, because it involves characters with special powers that you haven't seen them use before. Way back during Dance with Dragons, before Jon Snow had been assassinated by the traitorous brothers of the Night's Watch, damn you, Ollie, Jon is having a dream seeing through Ghost's eyes. He's effectively having a wolf dream, warging without knowing about it. Ghost is running around hunting somewhere south of the wall. In the dream, Ghost is aware of the presence of Nymeria, Shaggy Dog, and Summer, the direwolves that are still alive. He gets woken from the dream when a raven comes in, so that's really the end of it. But one, it hints at the fact that Jon does have the ability to warg, which George R. R. Martin has confirmed. Whether or not he ever actually explores that remains to be seen. But two, it hints at the larger connection, the more mythological connection that the wolves have amongst themselves, as well as with their Stark children that they bonded to. So Ghost, for instance, knows that Grey Wind has died, even though he wasn't in proximity to him when he did. They have this supernatural PAC connection that will come back into play during the War for the Dawn. So you have to imagine that this wolf pack that Nymeria has around her here is actually pretty small compared to what it's supposed to be in the books. Like when Martin teases super PAC, he's talking about a giant pack of wolves led by Nymeria. So if you remember how Grey Wind was so good in battle during the War of the Five Kings, think about how valuable Nymeria would be against the army of the dead with a giant pack of wolves. They would be badass all by themselves, even if they weren't being warred by one of the Stark children like Bran. Now here's where we get into some TV show changes. We've seen Turnip Bran, who's sort of phasing in and out of consciousness as he continues to access his powers and look into the future, look into the past, try and find out what's going to happen and how to make sense of it. So if anybody is going to be warging Nymeria and the other direwolves during the series, it's probably going to be Bran. In the books, that's going to be different. And I know everybody always wonders if Bran's able to warg a dragon. It's totally possible, but think about the connection that Daenerys has with Drogon, how he came to save her during the end of season 5. He just sensed that she was in trouble. It's the same thing with the direwolves and their Stark children, so you don't even necessarily need to warg them in order to get them to do what you want. Ghost would know what Jon was talking about. Jon wouldn't have to physically control his mind and force him to attack them. But the whole idea in table setting this season is that everybody in the kingdom gets on the same page that they need to unite against the army of the dead. We're really only in the earliest stages of that because Daenerys is still going after Cersei. Cersei has Euron go destroy Daenerys' fleet. But the idea is that by season 8, the people that are still left alive after these minor conflicts band together, and then you have all these supernatural things come back into play. So you have Daenerys' dragons, you have the direwolf super pack, the human characters coming together, the animal characters coming together. So just because Arya is saying goodbye effectively to Nymeria in this scene doesn't mean that this is the last we'll ever see of her. And in reality, all that was happening in this scene is that Arya is just recognizing that she's not a pet. Like, that's not you. That's what she was saying. This is actually what Dan and Dave said about it in the behind-the-scenes clip.
This scene harkens back to season 1. We last saw Nymeria when Arya made her run away because she wanted to save Nymeria's life. She knew Cersei was going to kill her if she found her. And when she finally finds Nymeria again, or Nymeria finds her, and she, of course, wants her to come back home with her and be her loyal companion again, but Nymeria has found her own life.
"That's not you" is a direct reference to what Arya herself said to her father when her father painted this picture for her of the life she could have as the lady of a castle and marrying some lord and wearing a nice frilly dress.
That's not me.
Arya is not domesticated, and it makes total sense that her wolf wouldn't be either. And once the wolf walks away, at first she's heartbroken to have come this close. Then she realizes that the wolf is doing exactly what she would do if she were that wolf.
Taking that into account, just open up a tab in Chrome for the next year and a half or however long it takes to get to Season 8 for Nymeria to come back and save the day in a big, awesome twist. But just to address the more WTF aspect of the way the show has treated the direwolves, if they're so important mythologically to the Stark characters as well as the overarching story, why does the show keep pushing them off to the side? Why don't we ever see ghosts standing around? One, they said early on that they had a choice, that they could make the dragons bigger or they could make the direwolves bigger. And at the time, dragons were more important for the TV show. But now that we've gotten to later seasons and they do have that crazy high budget, they actually do have the money if they really wanted to do it. But the second and much bigger reason why you don't see them around is just because they felt like they were never able to do them the way they thought they should. Like they just weren't happy with the way they look standing next to their human characters. So like in this scene here, when she's standing next to Arya, they have her standing way far away, and it's not like Arya standing right next to her where she can pet her. So you're not seeing any of those effects. So they felt like they just weren't able to achieve a really good version of that. And that's what you would need in order to have Ghost around all the time. He'd be standing almost face to face with human characters. He's like a small horse. That's how big he is. And logistically, it would just add so much more time to the scenes that they were already shooting. So they felt like it was easier to just push them off to the side and start killing off the direwolves. So I think that's the more WTF aspect of it, is that they started killing direwolves later just as a way to deal with them. Let me know in the comments, though, when do you think that we'll see Nymeria come back with her super pack in Season 8? Do you think it'll be a giant wide crowd shot, like it'll be a Knights of the Vale type moment where they just ride in and you're not expecting them? Because I feel like what the show's tried to do is give characters unique powers, because Arya should be able to warg Nymeria. She should be having wolf dreams, but we haven't really seen that on the show. And I think that's just to make Bran seem more special, because he's the character that wargs everything. But just remember that Jon Snow has wolf dreams, Arya has wolf dreams, all of the Stark children who have direwolves that are still alive have them, meaning that they have the potential to warg. So hopefully that answers some direwolf questions. I know everybody was really confused after the episode, like the intention, what's the show doing with the characters, are they ever going to come back? So I might post another bonus video Sunday. Leave all your requests in the comments below. I'll announce the giveaway winner when I post that. While you wait for everything, click here for the trailer for episode 3, and you can click here for my episode 2 video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.